That's me in 1942, September. Well, I joined in just around the middle of September in 1942. My birthday is the 25th of September, so I was a couple of weeks or so before I was 18. But at that particular time when they were looking for ladies to join, they overlooked that, and so I was able to sign up. This is the troop of women that joined up about the same time as I did, and we were sent to Vermilion in Alberta for our basic training, which was about a 6-week thing, and from there on we were posted to wherever they needed us. I went to Ottawa, and many of them went all over, actually all over Canada pretty well to help. Once you join up, and at that point we were in Lougheed House, billeted there until there was a certain number of us, and then they bused us to Vermilion, and we took a 6 weeks basic training course there. And that was basically just marching and running and exercising, a little bit of training to what goes on in the Army. And then once they got us going into that, it was time for interviews then. And they had to talk to you about, well, first of all, they checked your education to see what you were more or less qualified for. And then it was up to you to whatever you wanted to really do. Some of them wanted to be mechanics type of thing, and a lot of them went into transports where they could drive the trucks and do whatever. Some were paramedics type of thing, who wanted to do first aid. Then there was a lot of us who were, with what we had taken in school and that, were able to do office work. And so, you know, you could do the typing and bookkeeping, filing, that sort of thing. So we had the 6 weeks course there. And then when that was finished, then you were posted to wherever they thought you could do your job. And I was posted to Ottawa. I had a job waiting for me in the records department of National Defense, and there they could put you to work doing whatever they needed. And that particular place was where every day there was something. There was promotions, demotions, transfers, moves, whatever, and they recorded that every day. And so somebody had to type it up, and if you weren't typing it, you were proofing it, ready for printing, because it went out to all of the different places, you know, all through. So, and I did that for a year, and decided it was time to go home.
Well, you were able to decide, or did they decide for you?
Not really, but I talked to Dad, and Mom hadn't been very well, and he said, why don't you get a transfer? See if you can get a transfer and come back to Calgary and maybe get living out type of thing. So I applied, and they were quite willing to let me go back to Calgary. Yeah. So then when I got to Calgary, a good friend of ours, Major Allen, was in charge of the Provost Corps there. That's the military police. And so he said, well, he want me to go work for him.
So you went and did that?
So I went to work in his office with a couple other girls, and that was just typing up. The boys have to go out at night and do all of their whatever it is they do, and then they have to write a report in the morning. And so we used to type up the reports and put them on file if anything turned up, you know, if somebody got into a brawl somewhere or whatever. And so they were pretty good. So I did that until the war ended, pretty much, and by October, yeah, I guess it was towards the end of October in 44, then I took my demit, like I was finished. Yeah.
So once you came back to Calgary from Ottawa, that's where you met your husband, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I went to work at the Provost Corps, and he was in the Provost Corps, but he was up in Red Deer, I think, at that particular time. But Major Allen called him back into the office, or back into the group, because he needed more help there. and that's where I met him.
Now, your other brother Lionel was the only other one really old enough to join the army during that
Yeah,
time, and,
yeah.
and he did end up going
Oh
to Europe.
yes, he joined in 41, and he went to several places. He took basic in Calgary, and at one point he went to BC, to the island. That's where he met his wife to be. And he took a special course there for something. I'm not sure what that was. And then the last time I remember, he was at Lake Megantic in Quebec. And I did see a picture of him in his heavy clothes skiing or something. But they were one of the last troops to go overseas, and he did go on cleanup. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you didn't see him again for about 4 years.
No, we didn't see him. Like 41, after he left Calgary and went to BC, from there on over to Quebec, and we never ever saw him until he came home in January 46. Yeah. This is a picture of my father, Sidney Skeet, and his oldest son, Lionel, in 1941, November the 11th.
Where are
And that's at the Cenotaph in Central Park in Calgary.
it must have been tough on you guys to not see Lionel for 4 years.
No, we didn't see him, and it was just amazing. And you think there's always somebody missing in a group band, because we were a close family, because living on the farm for 15 years and everybody growing up together, and you sort of rely on one another. You're there for one another, and it makes a difference. Yeah. Somebody's always missing. Like we missed Irene, and she never came home anymore. But we try to make up for it now. Yeah.
But do you ever look back at your time in the army? Are you glad you joined? And
Yeah, I am. It was an experience. It wasn't a great thing. I didn't get to meet too many people, because you sort of everybody goes their own way kind of after the war. You never see them again.